Why leaving isn't the opposite of love, it's the ultimate act of self leadership. Good evening, beautiful souls. Welcome to a conversation I believe will shift the way you think about leaving, about staying, changing, about love, and about leadership. I'm LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And I want to share something with you tonight that came from a conversation I had recently with someone extraordinary. Her name is Zadina Cadyma, and she is making the world a better place by helping women find their voice and their way back to self love from living in survival. Zadina Cadyma is doing sacred work, guiding women out of the shadows of emotional trauma and into the light of self respect, clarity, and wholeness. The insights she shared with me are not just transformative, they are revolutionary. And tonight I want to unpack them with you. So settle in, sis. This one's for you. Let me ask you something. How many of us have been taught that endurance equals love? That if you can just hold on a little longer, sacrifice a little more, overfunction a little harder, that somehow that proves your devotion, that proves your strength. We've been told that walking away means you didn't try hard enough, that leaving is the opposite of love. But what if I told you that leaving an emotionally unsafe relationship, whether it's romantic, professional, or even familial, isn't about a lack of love at all? What if leaving is actually one of the most profound acts of self leadership and strategic boundary setting you will ever perform? What if walking away from imbalance is the same bold, visionary move as a Black entrepreneur pivoting from a toxic business partnership to build a thriving empire? This is the counterintuitive truth that Zadina Kadima helped me see more clearly. And it's the truth I want to unpack with you tonight, because we've been conditioned to believe that enduring imbalance for love builds resilience. But the reality, prioritizing self safety and reciprocity, unlocks exponential professional growth, entrepreneurial clarity, and emotional freedom. Let's start here. Think about the relationships in your life, personal and professional, where you've had to constantly monitor yourself, where your needs were minimized, where your reality was questioned, where you found yourself over functioning just to maintain peace. That's not love, sis. That's survival. And survival mode is expensive. It costs you your energy, your clarity, your joy, and eventually your sense of self. Zadina Kadima reminded me that choosing safety over survival is not selfish. It's strategic. In relationships and in business, when you're constantly overfunctioning to maintain peace, you're draining the very energy you need to build, to create, to lead. So here's the first key insight I want you to take with you tonight: choose safety over survival. Audit your professional networks, your personal circles, your inner team for mutuality. Just as you would exit an imbalanced relationship for self respect, you must also exit professional dynamics that require you to shrink, to perform, to prove. Let me tell you about a woman named Jamie Fraser. Jamie is a Black woman dedicated to child advocacy who advanced from victim advocate to director of training and education at the New York State chapter of the National Children's Alliance. Her work focuses on mental health for trauma affected families. But here's what struck me about Jamie's story. Early in her career, the demands of victim advocacy required constant self monitoring in high stress roles amid systemic trauma responses. Sound familiar? She was overfunctioning. She was enduring. She was surviving. But Jamie made a choice. She co developed something called AM Well training to equip advocates with mental health engagement skills. And in doing so, she prioritized reciprocity in team and family dynamics. She chose clarity over endurance. And the outcome: enhanced mental health outcomes for children, yes, but also a lesson for all of us. When you stop overfunctioning and start building systems rooted in reciprocity, you don't just survive. You lead, you transform, you empower. Jamie's story mirrors what so many of us experience when we exit unsafe dynamics for self leadership in service oriented fields. It's a model for Black women entrepreneurs who are learning that trauma informed resilience isn't about how much you can endure, it's about how wisely you can choose. She started as a frontline victim advocate at a local child advocacy center, building expertise through persistent professional endurance despite emotional tolls. She could have stayed in that cycle. She could have convinced herself that enduring was the same as serving, but she didn't. She gained national recognition in child trauma. She became a co trainer for specialized mental health initiatives. She improved trauma care standards, inspiring Black professionals in advocacy to model self care leadership. And here's the part that gets me: Jamie didn't just change her own life, she changed the lives of countless children and families. She turned her survival into something sacred and supportive for others. That's what happens when you choose safety over survival. You don't just heal yourself, you create healing systems. Now, let's talk about the second key insight: healing through voice amplifies impact. When you share your story of reclaiming self love post trauma, you position yourself as a leader. And Black professionals, especially Black women, can leverage this to mentor others, turning personal survival into communal empowerment. This is what Zadina Cadyma is doing. This is what you can do. Consider Ashley Pashley. Ashley is a Black clinical leader with a Master of Social Work from UNC Chapel Hill. She served as clinical director at the Georgia Center for Child Advocacy, spearheading trafficking projects for youth well-being in Metro Atlanta. Ashley managed high conflict environments in child advocacy, including problematic sexual behaviors and systemic barriers. These are the kinds of environments that echo the minimized needs we experience in imbalanced relationships. But Ashley didn't just endure, she implemented trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapy and attachment focused family therapy trainings via learning collaboratives, fostering reciprocal support systems for clinicians and families. The outcome? Better intervention dissemination, yes, but the deeper lesson: strategic exits from dysfunction enable broader impact. Ashley progressed from clinical faculty at the North Carolina Child Treatment Program, initiating federally funded trafficking projects amid emotional demands. She became a certified trainer in evidence based trauma models. She launched Project Intersect and Envision Project. She advanced responses to trafficked youth, modeling for Black women leaders how self respect drives industry change. Ashley's voice, her willingness to share what she learned from navigating trauma, became a tool for change. She didn't just survive her challenges, she turned them into a platform for healing others. And that, sis, is what happens when you stop hiding your story and start using your voice. Your voice is not just for you. Your voice is for the woman who's still sitting in silence, wondering if she's allowed to leave. Your voice is for the entrepreneur who's still in a toxic partnership, wondering if walking away makes her a quitter. Your voice is for the leader who's still overfunctioning, wondering if rest is even possible. When you heal through voice, you don't just reclaim your own story, you give permission to others to reclaim theirs. This brings me to the third key insight: reciprocity fuels entrepreneurial endurance. Ease in connections mirror sustainable business models. When you seek partnerships with emotional reciprocity, you avoid burnout and scale with clarity. This isn't just about feeling good, this is about building something that lasts. Let me introduce you to Dr. Michelle Miller. Dr. Miller is a Black pioneer in child advocacy who founded Montana's first accredited child advocacy center and chairs the State National Children's Alliance chapter. She's been collaborating on trauma interventions for over 20 years. But here's the thing: 15 years of directing mid maltreatment cases required overfunctioning in resource scarce settings. It paralleled the emotional endurance we experience in unsafe bonds. Dr. Miller could have burned out. She could have stayed in survival mode, but she didn't. She co developed advocate curricula and became a national trainer on family mental health engagement. The widespread adoption of child and family traumatic stress intervention in child advocacy centers across the country is a testament to her work. And the takeaway reciprocity and collaborations prevents burnout. Dr. Miller elevated child advocacy center standards nationwide by prioritizing safety and leadership, both for herself and for the systems she built. She turned survival into something sacred and supportive for others. She spent over 20 years training mental health practitioners. She joined the National Children's Alliance in 2016 after founding roles. She co authored evidence based maltreatment services. She became a national trainer on family mental health engagement. She didn't just survive, she built, she led, she empowered, and she did it by choosing reciprocity over endurance. Now, I want to bring this home for you. These three women, Jamie Fraser, Ashley Pashley, and Dr. Michelle Miller, they all navigated relational and professional imbalances akin to emotionally unsafe dynamics. They all reclaim self respect to empower their communities. And they all teach us the same lesson that Zadina Cadyma shared with me. Leaving isn't about a lack of love, it's about choosing safety, clarity, and self respect over survival. Research on trauma recovery emphasizes evidence based interventions like trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapy in child and family, traumatic stress intervention, these interventions restore safety and self efficacy after emotional trauma, and they parallel personal healing journeys. They align with entrepreneurial resilience, where leaders recover from unsafe ventures by rebuilding with mutual support. So here's what I want you to understand: when you leave an emotionally unsafe relationship, you're not giving up. You're recalibrating. You're restoring your baseline. You're choosing to build from a foundation of safety instead of survival. And that, sis, is leadership. Think about it. In business, we celebrate the pivot. We celebrate the entrepreneur who walks away from a failing partnership to build something better. We call that visionary. We call that strategic. But when a woman walks away from an emotionally unsafe relationship, we question her. We ask if she tried hard enough. We ask if she loved enough. But the truth is, walking away is the same move, it's the same pivot, it's the same strategic boundary setting that builds empires. Zadina Cadyma is helping women see this. She's helping women find their voice and their way back to self love from living in survival. And tonight, I'm asking you to see it too. Softness is not weakness, sis. Softness is a radical act of self love. And choosing safety over survival is not selfish. It's strategic, it's visionary, it's the move that changes everything. So here's my question for you: what one unsafe professional or personal dynamic will you release this week to invite reciprocity and self love into your entrepreneurial path? I want you to audit it today. I want you to step into your empowered voice because the world needs your leadership. The world needs your clarity. The world needs you whole, not just surviving. This is your moment. This is your permission. This is your call to walk away from what drains you and walk toward what honors you. Release that cape, set that boundary. Step into the life you deserve. The world is waiting for the leader you're becoming when you choose yourself. Now go.